Have I got a battery full of charge? Yes. Have I finally got an SD card in my camera and this camera is filming this video? Yes. Okay. Long story short, I tried to film this video earlier and I couldn't because my camera wasn't fully charged and the SD card wasn't even in the camera, and I basically got really busy up until now. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night and I'm filming this video. That's how busy I've been. Anyway, without further ado, welcome along to this week's episode of the movie wrap up right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. Got 3 movies to talk about in this video, so without further ado, let's start this video. You're watching Steve's movie wrap up, episode 61, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie you'll be reviewing in this episode is Mickey 17. So the first movie I've watched is Mickey 17, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. Bong Joon-ho's latest directed movie is in the form of Mickey 17. Now, given that the director has won Oscars for one of his previous films in the form of Parasite, a movie which I haven't actually seen before personally. Should really get around to watching it at some point though, because I feel like I'm the 1% of people in the world who hasn't seen that film, and with it being an Oscar-winning film, I should definitely get around to watching it. But is Mickey 17 an Oscar-worthy film though? I don't really think so. It's definitely a lot different, I think, in tone to what I have heard about Parasite, but also what did I think of Mickey 17? Was the movie any good? Well, I think I did enjoy it just fine. It's got a star-studded lineup in the form of Robert Pattinson as Mickey Barnes, or as he's known in this movie as Mickey 17. Why is he called Mickey 17? Well, because he's the 17th version of Mickey Barnes, but when Mickey 17 is pronounced as dead, they create the 18th version of Mickey. Unknowingly though, Mickey 17 has survived. There's also this clause where there can't be multiple versions of a particular person either, so Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 are technically breaking the rules, but I won't go into too much spoiler detail though, in case people are planning to watch this movie for themselves soon. There is a slight bit of humour in here, a few pieces of dialogue here and there which I did find quite funny, and some moments in here that I did find funny within the movie itself, which is good. Naomi Ackie I thought was rather decent, and there was a particular scene towards the third act of this movie where I thought she was a lot stronger in terms of performance, which was great. Toni Collette and Mark Ruffalo also star in this movie alongside Stephen Ewan as well. Speaking of Mark Ruffalo, every time his character appeared on screen, I couldn't help but just instantly think of Donald Trump. He even sounded like him. I don't know if he was basing his character on Trump, I'm not too sure, but he definitely did sound like it. And with the political aspect thrown into this movie as well, which you'll find out the politics behind this movie shortly after the movie begins, but I think it does instantly, as the viewer watching this movie, make you think of Trump instantly. The running time of the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's funny because this was originally meant to be released back in 2024, but then it got delayed and delayed again and again. So I'm glad it's finally been released. Does make me wonder though whether this film was supposed to be a lot longer though. I'm not too sure, but I will say I do have a little complaint to make about this movie. Now, while I did enjoy this movie because it was a good film, but the final act of the film though, there are some moments where you can tell that the scene in question was green screened or CGI'd in, which was rather annoying, but I don't want that to take away too much of the enjoyment that I had from this film, because nonetheless it was still a really good film and I had a good time watching this one. Is Mickey 17 a movie worth checking out at the cinema? I definitely do think so. It's a great movie with great characters, great chemistry as well. I think the characters we do see, apart from Ruffalo's and Colette's characters, are quite likeable. The music scoring in this movie was rather decent, and I thought the set designs in this movie was also really good. I don't think this is an Oscar nominated movie though, like Parasite was, but nonetheless though, you'll still get some enjoyment out of this film, especially if you tend to like sci-fi movies, because I would class this as more sci-fi or fantasy. Is Mickey 17 a movie that I'm going to be watching again? I can see me revisiting and rewatching this movie. I can also see me buying and keeping this movie on digital platforms, where it does release on digital later this year. But for now though, Mickey 17 is now showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide.
Control Freak.
Control Freak is the next movie that I watched this week, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. So Control Freak is a new movie that recently released over on Disney Plus internationally and over on streaming service Hulu over in the US. So what did I think of this new movie? Not gonna lie, but the poster made me think this movie was gonna be a little like the horror movie Sting that came out around about this time last year in 2024. But I will be completely wrong about that, because Sting was about a spider that grew bigger and bigger. This movie, however, surprisingly, I completely understand the messaging behind this movie. The messaging in this movie explores inner trauma that has happened to the lead / main character when they were a child. The lead / main character of the movie is now an author and is going on tour and be a public speaker up on stage, I guess you could say. What's funny is every time they were talking about cancelling the tour though, it instantly made me think of that time Justin Timberlake said to a police officer, "This is going to ruin the tour." And when the police officer asked what tour, he responded back with the world tour. I don't know why, but it did instantly make me think of that each time the tour being cancelled was mentioned in this film. Not only does the film deal with inner trauma, but it also does deal with inner demons. I guess we all have them, but don't we? It's part of life. But we do our best to not let those demons deep within ourselves to win. We are always fighting and battling those demons inside of us all the time, especially when we ourselves are going through a traumatic time or a difficult time in our lives. Well, in this film, it also deals with that theme as well, which I think is, in a way, is rather important as well. Did I enjoy watching this movie? With the movie dealing with the themes it does, and with a running time of just 1 hour and 44 minutes, I would say this was a rather decent watch. Hence why I have given it this movie 2 stars on Letterboxd. There was a couple of moments in the movie where we did have some gory moments, which weren't too bad either, as this is classed as a horror movie. Also, there is a lot of head scratching in this movie. From literally the opening scene of the film to the final act, there was so much head scratching in this film to the point we got halfway through and even I myself started scratching my head. The demon, or as it is known as in the film, the parasite that the lead character, who is called Val or Valerie, is fighting in this movie, the design of the demon made me instantly think of the same monsters that the kids in Stranger Things come face to face with in that TV show. But that being said though, I did love the fact that we didn't see too much of the demon though. We only got to see glimpses here and there of this demon that Val is fighting throughout the film. Is this a movie I can see myself revisiting again? I reckon so. To be honest, it wasn't a bad film. A decent story. The actors and actresses that play their respective roles in the film were also rather decent as well. And the film did seem to have a good budget to allow them to do the stuff that you see within this film. Like, it's not a low budget horror movie with really obvious looking fake blood and fake gore, etc. Is this a movie I would recommend to other horror movie fans out there? For sure it is. I think you will enjoy this one, whether you think it's a rewatchable movie or even a movie you'll only check out the once and once only. But Control Freak is now streaming on Disney Plus internationally and on Hulu over in the US.
Plankton the movie.
And the final film that I have watched this week is Plankton the movie, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. It's been over a week since the release of Plankton the movie, and I was going to give this a watch on the day it was released, but unfortunately I had issues with the Wi-Fi, which meant I was unable to give this a watch. However, now the Wi-Fi issues have been resolved, and I managed to find the time in my rather busy schedule at the moment to sit down and watch Plankton the movie on Netflix. What did I think of this one? Surprisingly, I found this rather decent. I love the fact that despite the fact that Paramount have their own streaming service in the form of Paramount Plus, they are still making these SpongeBob movies for Netflix and not releasing them on their own streaming service. But that doesn't bother me at all. I'm just really glad that I enjoyed this one a lot more better than the last SpongeBob movie I watched that got released on Netflix, which was the movie that entirely focused on Sandy Cheeks. And I do remember reviewing that movie for Letterboxd, and I don't think I gave it a positive review or even a high star rating from what I remember anyways. Is Plankton the movie a film that anyone, no matter the age, can stick on and enjoy? I do think so. There was a few moments in this film that I did snigger at times, and also a movie that kept me interested and intrigued throughout the running time. The running time for the film is 1 hour and 27 minutes, and despite the fact that this movie is purely about Plankton, SpongeBob, and the rest of the gang do feature prominently throughout the movie running time as well. I must say, it's been a really long time since I last watched an episode of SpongeBob, so it's always good to check in to see what the cartoon character is up to these days. Let me just talk about the animation style, because I loved how clean the animation was in the movie. Yes, it does use 3D animation throughout the movie, but that really didn't bother me at all, to be honest, because it just looked so clean and gave the characters a lot more expressions as well, which I loved. There's also a couple of moments in this film where we see other styles of animation for certain scenes, more so in the form of flashbacks. We see these different styles of 2D animation, which I thought was great as well. I think this movie also proves a point as well. Never ever, under any circumstances, piss off a Karen. This movie proves the reason as to why you shouldn't, because there's a likely chance that she will turn into an evil computer that has 3 heads and then starts taking over the city you live in and go for world domination, like Karen does in this movie. For those who don't know who Karen is Plankton's computer wife and assistant at his restaurant called the Chum Bucket. I just can't believe it's been 25 years since Plankton has been trying and failing to get his hands on the Krabby Patty secret formula. I think I would have given up years ago trying to steal the formula for myself, but even to this day, 25 years later, he still wants to have his hands on that secret formula. Is this a movie I could see myself watching again? I definitely think so, as I did enjoy this one a lot. I feel like this is a movie within the SpongeBob universe that I could go back and rewatch, just like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie that came out years ago when I was a kid. This is definitely a movie that the kids would enjoy sitting down and watching for sure, but as a grown-ass adult, I still love this movie, which again is another reason why I would watch this one again. I think it's safe to say that Netflix have a hit on their hands with this movie, and is this a movie I would recommend for other people to watch? Whether you have got children of your own or you don't, I think either way, your kids are going to enjoy this movie. But I think if you're watching this for yourself, then sure, you're going to have a fun time and watch this, especially if you've grown up watching SpongeBob when I did as a kid. Plankton the movie is now streaming on Netflix around the world. And that is it for this week's episode of the movie wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what movies you've been watching this past week. As always, really do appreciate your comments. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. I'll be back again soon with your next YouTube video. But until then, though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.